I don't think that you can get better acting than is on display in Vice. I mean, this is next level stuff. Even down to Christian Bale actually gaining the weight to play Cheney rather than don a fat suit. But don't hurt yourself, Christian Bale. Tom Hardy had to stop doing that because it was really hurting his health. I believe that also really hurt Tom Hanks as well. So last time, Christian Bale, we'll forgive you. But what a last time. However, if only Adam McKay was as sophisticated as his cast. Instead, just like with The Big Short, very similar problems between the two movies. McKay is not just a sledgehammer of a filmmaker, but he's an insulting sledgehammer. I mean, McKay makes great points, but I don't love having them screamed at me. Also, his choice to tell the story out of order and sometimes documentary style is jarring, very jarring, and robs the movie of the elegance of, say, a Patton or a Lincoln. Excellent political biography movies. There's also a Shakespeare bit. Now, to be fair, I don't like Shakespeare, but I don't think anyone would enjoy this. It really kind of took me out of the movie, in fact. And Christian Bale and Amy Adams, try as they might, could not pull it off. I would be curious, when you do see the movie, come back, or if you have, did you like the Shakespeare bit? I thought it was just too cool for school, Adam McKay. But still, the movie, it had me. Thanks again to the powerhouse performances, but also a fascinating story that one most of us haven't heard before. And that's sort of the point, that Cheney is one of the most secretive men in history. You know, a lot of times you go to see these biography movies and you know a lot of the stuff, but you want to, let's see this filmmaker's take on it. This is like all new, and what a story. I even forgave the movie for ripping off House of Cards at the very end. And I'm surprised that no one turned to Adam McKay and said, you can't do that. That's the signature move of House of Cards. Come up with something else. You're the writer and the director. But what really made me have a problem with the movie is the mid-credit scene, where McKay is so incredibly insulting to moviegoers. Well, you know how I always tell you that it's really important, the feeling that moviegoers have when they leave your movie? Like Napoleon Dynamite, meh, but great ending. So everybody leaves the theater being like, wow, that was a great movie. But with Vice, I think the feeling that most people will have when they leave the theater is, fuck you, Adam McKay. But I still think you should see this movie. I still think it's worth your time. Again, because of the performances. I mean, we all knew that Christian Bale was a very talented actor. But this transformation, I mean, this is like Meryl frickin' Streep level. Wow. And then one point in the movie I was like, oh yeah, and also isn't Christian Bale British? Mind blown again. And I also think that Christian Bale is very fair to Dick Cheney. But speaking of fair, Adam McKay has admitted that he couldn't hate the Bush administration more, like really, like almost vendetta level. But still, there are glimmers. I mean, I guess he can't help himself also here. In a good way, there are glimmers of a balanced take on this sprinkled throughout the movie. And the movie is at its best when it's accurately depicting how not just politicians, but also corporate executives operate at the very highest levels. And I don't think it's the game, by the way, that's bad. You might be like, well, nobody should do this. I mean, I think it's a very exciting game, as it is here. But in many cases, sadly most cases, the real problem is that the players have no real moral compass. You know, it's not don't hate the player, hate the game. I love the game. The problem again is, you know, and I think that people should want to play it. I mean, I mean, it almost has a little bit of a Wall Street aspect to it, you know, with Gordon Gekko. The problem, and I wish that Adam McKay would underline this, and of course he doesn't, is that it's not the way people work at these upper levels, but that, you know, they don't put themselves in check from, again, a moral perspective, you know, just what's right and wrong. And I think that line is frustratingly debatable, depending on how you view big business and how you view politics and, you know, what the priority should be. Those are all really interesting subjects, in fact, and this is not the kind of movie to explore them. I don't think Adam McKay even thinks that way, which is, you know, kind of the problem on both sides today. I think Adam McKay in some ways is just as guilty as the people that he's trying to, you know, nail to the wall here. But going back to the acting, this is also the best I've ever seen Amy Adams. And Amy Adams also is a very talented actress, but this was amazing. And Sam Rockwell, well, he just is George W. Bush. And I know that some people were worried that this might be too cruel, particularly right after the passing of George W. Bush's father. By the way, George H.W. also shows up briefly, and they cast that very well as well. But I don't think that it was mean. I think, if anything, I don't want to give spoilers, because again, this is a story really very few people know. But I thought it was also fair to George W. Bush. Also, speaking of the cast, Tyler Perry makes for a very convincing Colin Powell. Now, I think that watching this movie will make a lot of people angry, and Adam McKay wants to make you angry. But I don't think that he should make you so angry to the point that you just throw your hands up in disgust and walk away. Because the real takeaway should be that if this is how the game is indeed being played, and it is, well, the other side, whoever is against, if this is how your opponent is playing, you have to play at the same level. You just can't complain and whine about the way the game is the way it's being done. I would say you have to put rules into effect, but Dick Cheney and his cohorts are shockingly effective at getting rid of rules and just flat out ignoring them. And it's on the people who let them ignore them as well. And again, Adam McKay doesn't make any of those points, because this is a very one-sided movie. I would even describe Adam McKay as not just idealistic, but idealistic to the point of naivete. A lot of times in the movie, you could get the feeling that he was like, "Can you believe this is the way it's done?" And I would be like, "Oh yeah, not only do I believe it, but that's really smart." I mean, again, I don't think that should be discussed. It should be like, "Oh, let me get out my own notes. Let me copy over your shoulder, Dick Cheney." I mean, there's some very, and like the quote at the beginning of the movie. I love the quote at the beginning of the movie. Really, really good. But I still enjoyed the heck out of this movie, and I really recommend that everyone give it a whirl at some point. You don't have to see it in theaters. You can watch it on streaming. I don't know if you want to watch it on an airplane. There's some September 11th stuff in there, which is very effectively done. But it's just something you should catch at some point. Especially, well, everybody should be into this, because this story is about the world, so it affects the world, and so you should be into it. But if you're interested usually in stories about government or big business, then this is the movie for you. And I love that kind of stuff. So that's my review of Vice. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts about it, especially as it enters awards season as an awards darling. Share your thoughts down below. If you have spoilers, be careful to mark them as such, because again, this movie is chock full of surprises. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.